Hello, everyone. Hi. Bami here. My name is Oluwabamikemi Kayode. I am the community marketing specialist at KPI, and welcome to my session. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. And today I'm going to be talking about a very important topic that seems to be like an afterthought for most of us. Like when building um any open source project, this always come as an afterthought. We necessarily do not think about it because we just want to, do the MVP, get everything set up on GitHub. But then this is also as equally as important as the technical bits of the project, right? And so today we are going to be talking about sustaining open source beyond code, the importance of marketing and funding. And like I said, I am the community marketing specialist at Async API. So get to meet me a little bit. Again, I'm also a community programs manager. I do community programs. I host tech events. Maybe you'll be seeing me one way or other, or you haven't seen me yet. I host tech events. I am an open source advocate. I also advocate for women in tech. I love to travel. hmm Yeah, I love to travel when I have money. And then when I'm not doing anything community or tech, I make my own choices. Mm. Yeah, I love yellow, black, and green. That is always sounding weird to people because the colors are like, oh, but yes, those are like my three favorite colors, and you're always going to catch me in them, except that I'm not wearing any of the colors right now. Yeah, I hate homemade food. I prefer homemade food too. I wouldn't call myself a chef, but I cook my meal. Yes, I get to call myself an ambivert because when I'm outside, I can be the life of the party. And on the other hand, I can sleep in all day long. So, yeah, I'm like a bit of both words, right? So that's my Twitter handle if you want to connect with me after this talk. Yeah, let's get to it. So we're talking about marketing and funding. Like, what comes to mind when you hear that? Um, of course, sustainability, pillar of sustainability, because the people that will actually help you grow this community or this project is people, like people, and you need to market the project to the people. And of course, you need to get funding to sustain those people that are there. So we are talking about sustainability and we are also talking about scalability, right? Those are the two major things that we're talking about. Marketing is the pillar of sustainability, and obviously, funding is necessary for scalability. If you want to grow and you want to grow the open source project, you want to grow your project or your community, you need to source for funding. And yes, our organizations need to fund the project as well. So let's get to it. Yeah. So before we go on, let's share a quick story. Like, how did we get there? How did we start talking about market and sustainability? Like I said, this topic is going to focus heavily on um what is often overlooked, right? We always have it as an afterthought. You would have finished building your project before you start thinking of, oh, I need to market this project, or oh, this project needs funding, and oh, it needs funding. I think every year when we do Sustain Africa, we always have this group of session where we talk about open source sustainability. I mean, which includes the funding and the marketing part, which is very important, and it's something we need to um actively put in check when we start building that open source project or that open source community, right? It is very important for the longevity and the success of an open source project. While coding and the technical bits contributions forms as the backbone of any open source initiative, the importance of marketing and funding is increasingly recognized as well as an essential tool for sustainability. So in this talk, I will be exploring some strategic marketing strategy, how to build awareness and community engagement, while we source for diverse funding models, ensuring the project's long-term viability, right? Drawing from real-world experience, example like Async API, what Async API is doing. So, and I will be providing some actionable insights on how marketing and funding can elevate open source projects to the next level, right? Because we all know that open source projects, or open source is more than just a line of code, right? It is collaborative. It has community-driven efforts to build something bigger than any individual, any one individual can do, right? And to maintain this efforts, or to maintain this project, we need to look beyond code. We need to go beyond the technical bits of it. We need to talk about how it is important to also market. You need to start thinking of the marketing bit of it as well. How do you make sure that people know about the project, right? How do you know that people know that this project is beneficial to them, and how they can also contribute to it? And then we need to start thinking of funding as well, right? How do we secure resources to keep the project alive, and also to ensure that it thrives, it keeps thriving? Today, again, we're going to be sharing why this technical or non-technical aspect, right? Non-technical aspect, which is the marketing and the funding, are just as important as the code, as the technical aspect itself, for long-term success of any open source project. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's go. So why marketing matters? Now, I mean, you just think about it. Why do we need marketing? We can just like continue building our projects, continue having people that will just contribute to the project and move on with their lives, and come one off and just go on GitHub and just come across the project somehow and just work on it and go, right? But then, excuse me, we need marketing for visibility. When you talk about marketing, you're talking about visibility. You're talking about how far this project can go, how far people can know about the project, how far people can hear about what Async API is doing, what Layer 5 is doing, what Chaos Africa is doing. How far can they hear it? How far can people get to see what is happening, right? So for visibility purpose, this is very, very important, right? It helps to build the project and makes the project stand out. Yeah, it makes the project stand out in a crowded ecosystem. We have a lot of open source projects out there, but visibility helps with making the project stand out, right? And the project is reaching a whole lot of people that you can ever imagine. And that is why a lot of me in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, could hear about, oh, there's a certain project called Async API, or there's a certain project called Chaos projects, right? And Genome and all other amazing projects out there, right? So the second one is the value communication. Now you want to think about it. What value does this project talk to people, right? How does people get to know about the project? What is the value? What is the potential of this project to users, to contributors? How is it helping them, right? Helping them understand why the project matters, why the project is important for them to. So you want to have a proper value communication, putting out why it is important for contributors to join the community, putting out why the project needs funding. Yeah, and then the other thing is the community engagement. Marketing matters, and it's very important because it helps with engaging diverse community. Now you get to the end, you see a community of an open source community, and you see people from all over the world, different background, different ideas, just coming together to work together. And this is like marketing effort will also engage a diverse community, including not only the developers, but also the end users, the content creators, the sponsors, the designer. Now we have designers and communities. Open source communities. Now we have content creators. Now we have like event management. We have people that are like volunteering to take up positions in open source communities, right? Marketing will also help in this community engagement. And then the last one is attracting contributors. The marketing effort will help you make this project get to the right people, get to the right contributors that needs to come on board to work on the project. A well-marketed project attracts new contributors who can bring in fresh perspectives and skills that will help sustain and grow that project, right? So these are the reasons when you're thinking about, why do we need to have marketing? These are the 4 major reasons we should have marketing, why marketing matters in an open source project. So how do you want to market it? What forms of marketing can you use? I put out a couple of marketing strategies that can be used in any open source community to grow and to sustain your open source project. And the first one is content marketing. And of course, when you're talking about content marketing, you're talking about things like the blog, the newsletter, social media posts, content that educates, content that informs, that keeps the community members updated, both in a close community such as Slack or Discourse or Discord or any of these communities, and also on social media platforms like Instagram, like LinkedIn, Twitter, or X, Facebook, Redmi, any other Reddit, or any other Mastodon, any other platforms you want to think of, as far as you want your content or your projects to get to, right? So you have ways of communicating, showing updates, and that's something we do at Astin KPI. We have to work on the monthly newsletters and blogs that keep all the community members abreast of what is happening in the community. They get to know the recent happenings, what is going on, what we are looking forward to in the next month, the events that's coming up, the events that have happened in the past. So people get to understand the what is going on in the community, right? So the next one is community engagement. We want to add things like hosting events, hosting meetups, hackathons, mentorship program, like a program that we started this month. It's currently ongoing, and these are just forms that you can use to keep the community, or forms of marketing that you can have, and you can also use this to keep the community engaged, right? Then we have like thought leadership, and when we're talking about thought leadership, we're just talking about how folks can write articles, speak at conferences, go to conferences to talk about the projects and any new updates in the project, right? You also want to have people that are contributing to discussion in your project niche. So your project is focusing on Web3, you go to conferences where you get to talk about your project. You go to Web3 conferences where you talk about your project. Your project is focusing on APIs. You go to conferences that you get to talk about project API conferences. Your project is focusing on cloud native Kubernetes, you go to Kubernetes conferences and talk about your open source projects there. So speaking at conferences is also like a form of marketing. And yes, we are doing that because we have a lot of Async API on tour going on, and then we are going to be sharing more that will be coming up next year. But this year we have been at Async, we've been in London, we'll also be in Paris, and yeah, we are also having this virtual version of Async API on tour to spread to the world, right? This is a form of marketing. And then another one is use case or case study, like providing use case or case study for people to use for all the end users to see and to share is another form of marketing. Yeah. This something like getting like I think API blog posts or Twitter engagement to reach wider audience. Now, you also another form of marketing that you will also want to practice is the SEO and web presence, right? You want to make sure that your web presence is known, right? And optimizing your search engine to increase discoverability of your project. So when people search for Async API, they can easily discover it. They can easily know that, or when they are looking for any open source projects that is focusing on APIs or Async APIs, they can easily just search, and search engine is just going to bring your community right to their face. So you want to also invest in that form of marketing, right? These are the different forms of marketing that you can try out in your project, and then you will start seeing some tangible and reasonable results. So moving on, we want to talk about some challenges that you can have in during marketing or wanting to do marketing, and how you can actually overcome these challenges and have a problem solved. And there are two common challenges, and the two common challenges are one is lack of resources, right? And then people being skeptical about marketing role in open source. Lack of resources is resources like time, like money, like expertise, like people that actually have qualification to work on this project. And this is because open source projects is free and open, and it's a lot of people to come in. So you have a lot of people working on good force issues, a lot of people just wanting to start their career and build their career with open source. So they might not have the certain level of expertise that you need, right? And then you have people that do not really have a lot of time to dedicate to your project. They just want to come contribute to a particular aspect of your project and just move on with their lives. Or because they're just in the community, they are working on projects, and there's no compensation, or there is no even funds for you to do some marketing things about the project, right? These are some common challenges, like paying for hosting, paying for social media platform, paying for giving stipend or something to your mentorship programs, right? These are some of the major challenges you can have when there is no funding for marketing. And these are ways that you can also overcome this type of challenges. And one of it is to leverage on the people that you have in your community. You can reach out to some people. I mean, there's a lot of people that want to volunteer in open source projects, right? You just leverage on your community members to help create content and promote the project, right? I also want to collaborate with marketing expertise, right, or volunteers within the community to develop this type of content or to help with any of this content, any of this form of content, probably writing articles or writing blogs, posting blogs, or even hosting the event itself or some of the events, right? So we have a lot of people that contributed to Acting KPI, and we are so grateful to them. All right. So those are like when you have built a community and when you have built a project and people see the value of the projects that you are building and they get to want to also be part of the success of that project. Right. So the next one that is like solutions, one of the solutions to all of this problem is to automate automate when necessary, automate when possible, anywhere that is possible for you to automate, like scheduling of social media posts, automate. We use Buffer at Sync API because you just post and you get your analytics, you get your analysis at the end of the month, you see how your post is doing, and voila, makes your work very easy or easier. So you can also like invest in that. So why is funding crucial? Why is funding super important? When you talk about funding and you talk about money, it is a little bit hard because I mean people want to see the value of your project before they invest in it. They want to see what your project is doing, how your project is paid, and uh so it might not be as easy as it seems. But then we need to start putting it out that funding is very, very important for every open source project because that is what keeps it sustainable, right? Now, we have 4 reasons why funding is very important for the sustainability, for compensation, for infrastructure costs, and for innovation. And when you talk about for sustainability, you talk about the continuous funding. The continuous funding ensures that the project can grow and scale without the maintenance burning out or getting tired, right? Because a lot of things would have been made easier. Like what I mentioned in the previous slide of how to automate. When you want to automate your projects, I mean your post, you are not doing that with clean hair. You want to do it with a platform that will require you to pay some certain amount of money, right? You want to host, you want to do a lot of things, right? So you need this um this uh funding for sustainability. Sorry, I lose my line of thought a little bit there. For sustainability. And now the second one is for the compensation. And when you're talking about compensation, you get to make makes your project more inclusive. And reason being that when you talk about compensation, people like me get hired and people like Tuli get hired as the community manager for this project because we have the funding for it, right? People like I wouldn't be the marketing specialist if there was no fund to, to pay, right? To sustain that marketing bit of the project. So funding is important for compensation because and then we have the program I mentioned earlier, the mentorship program, which both mentors and mentees gets paid afterwards. They get paid off some certain amount of stipend. And again, this will not be possible if there is no funding, right? Infrastructure costs. I'm sure my manager Lucas will agree with me on this because there are times I just go meet him and be like, oh, we need to pay for buffer, oh, we need to pay for this particular platform, oh, we need to work on this particular thing, and all these things are not happening with paper, they're happening with actual funds, actual money, dollars. So funding is very, very important for any open source project, at all, because there's a lot of infrastructure costs. There is hosting, there is event hosting, like what we're doing, the travel costs and all of that. You need funding for all of those things, right? And given that open source project is always like free and open, is a non-profit organization, so funding is very, very important to keep it afloat. There is innovation as well. This is you get to hear that, oh, there is I think API version 2.1, 2.8, 2 point, it keeps moving and moving and moving from one version to another, because there is funds to keep the project afloat. There is funds to bring people in to work on a bounty program, to work on a mentorship program, to come up with new, fresh ideas, and to keep increasing the project. We participate in other external programs like the GSOC, and mentees and mentors, mentees. It's not, they come up with new innovations, new ideas, new fresh perspectives, because the project is still alive. And part of the things that's keeping it alive is funding. So yes, it is very, very important to fund open source projects. I will look at the lady saying that she needs $10,000. You might need more than that, but you might want to start a little bit small. Yeah. Okay. So now we have this funding model for open source projects. And it's just basically from the corporate sponsorships, which are like corporate companies that believe in the projects that you're working on and they want to support. Then we have paid services like, oh, Slack is using Async API, and they decided to give us some let us use the products as well for free. Something like this, paid services. And you have something like grants and donation, where big organizations, both governments and non-governmental, get to donate to the community or to the projects as well. Then you have crowdfunding, when different people or individuals just decide that, oh, they have some extra dollars lying somewhere and they love this project that is going on here and they want to support the project. So that is crowdfunding. Right. So moving on, marketing and funding for longevity. When you hear this, like, yes, it is important for longevity. So taking the code part aside, the people that are actually going to keep contributing to this code, they are in the community. And we get there, some are outside, some still needs to be reached, right? And that is why marketing and funding is important, because visibility and credibility generated through marketing makes it easier to secure funding. Yeah, marketing attracts funders. People that are going to fund, people that are going to contribute, not only even fund, people that are going to contribute, they are attracted by marketing. What is the level of marketing? What is the level of visibility that this project has? What is the level of credibility that this project has? How many people have actually used the project and is doing what exactly they said it's going to do? Yeah. So when you do a lot of visibility and there is credibility for your project, you get to attract people that will say that, oh, yeah, I see what you're doing, and I want to contribute to it. I want to support it. And there is also like part of marketing is also like, speaking, reaching out to people for partnerships and sponsorships. And this is how you get to talk to people that, oh, have you seen the project we are working on? We have done XYZ and we are planning to do ABC. So you need to show something for it, which is your marketing strategies of over the years or over the months that you've started the project, or even the ideas of marketing that you have inside to keep the project growing and scalable. All right. Another one is funding fuels marketing. Now, you see, the first one is marketing attracts funders. That's the power of marketing. Now, we want to talk about funding first marketing. Now, you do marketing and you get funders. So you get people that want to fund the company or to fund the project. And then you also need these funds to fund the marketing because it's, again, like I said, that is how likes of me can be hired to work, to solely dedicate our time to work on the marketing bit of the community marketing of Async API, and why someone like Tulisu can be employed to work or hired to work as the marketing manager to focus on, organizing events, giving the community updates, and organizing events like what we are having right now, right? She's doing amazingly well, and a marketing community marketing, you are trying to reach as many people as possible, trying to put the project on the map, increase the visibility of the project, and get to see how many people are, when you put 10 people together, how many people have heard of Async API, right? So marketing and funding fuels marketing, right? Funds can be used to hire marketing professionals, like I said, or purchase tools to scale promotional efforts. So purchase tools like scheduling tools, platforms, excuse me, and every other thing that you need to just scale the promotional efforts of the project. So now, another one that you can use marketing and funding for longevity is building a brand. A strong brand presence help with both community building and attracting potential sponsors. So as you are increasing your brand presence, people are knowing that, oh, there is this certain community or there's this certain open source project of this kind. Through your marketing, you get people that will say that, oh, they want to contribute to it, or they want to sponsor it. So you get to have, you get to build the community of both, not just contributors, but also sponsors, partners, that collaborators that want to keep that project alive and keep it growing, right? So now these are some practical tips for open source projects. Number one is develop a clear value proposition. I mentioned that initially. This is where you want to think about, oh, how do people perceive your project when they hear it? What do they know about your project? How do they have a clear understanding of the problem your project is solving, right? So know and communicate the problem of that your project solves to people, to the outside world. Let them understand. You hear Async API saying that, oh, I want to be the number one event-driven architecture. Want to the person that we hired as our community marketing specialist. So people get to understand, be transparent, right? Clearly communicate your funding needs and what they are going to be used for, and how they are used eventually. Yeah. So the last one is showcase success stories. I like impactful use cases or contributions to attract more users and funders. So always share success story, how the project is going, how the project has impacted people, the people that have used it, let them come. Thank you so much for coming to my talk and listening to my session. Again, that's Twitter page is not for me. So if you want to connect with me once again, this is me over here at Oluwabamikemi. Thank you so much for coming to my session, and I hope with this few points of mine, I have been able to tell us that as open source projects grows, it is clear and it is evident that code alone isn't enough to sustain the project. So yes, we want to have people contribute to the code base of the project, and you know, for a long time. But marketing helps to build the community and ensures that people knows about this project, while funding ensures that both the code and the community can thrive, right? As we have seen, I've shown example, I've said a lot of examples around how Async API is thriving through marketing and funding. When we focus on this non-technical aspect, we also unlock a new opportunity for growth, for collaboration and innovation. So sustaining open source projects, you want to go with this. Sustaining open source projects goes beyond just code. Beyond code is not just possible. Like, you cannot do it only on code. It goes beyond code. It is essential for the future of open source. And so let's keep building and let's keep doing open source marketing, and let's keep securing those funds. And yes, for corporate organizations, please keep sponsoring this open source project. Thank you once again. And yes, because I am the marketing specialist, I want to give a big shout out to all of our amazing sponsors that we have in the community, especially our headline sponsors, which are Postman and Gravity.io. We are so grateful to you all. Yeah, and to all of our other sponsors and the contributors that in our community, all of our partners, all of our users. We are so grateful to all of you. Thank you for keeping Async API afloat, and thank you for helping us sustain this project. So till next time, thank you.